Hi, everybody. It's Danny, and I want to talk to you today a little bit about how anxiety and depression um, can sap your energy, can keep you from doing things you like to do. Um, how many times have we heard, as people with anxiety or depression, why are you guys so lazy? Why don't you get out and do stuff? If if being active makes you feel better, then why aren't you active? To folks who don't understand the way this works, it seems like a simple equation. If being active releases endorphins and makes you feel better, then why don't you just be active? And the answer to that, for most of us, is that being active takes energy, and depression and anxiety sap that energy away from you. Um, you can love to do something. Let's say you love to play tennis, and playing tennis makes you feel good. When you're done, you have endorphins firing and you feel like you've accomplished something and you feel better. Well, because of the lack of energy and the lack of motivation that happens when you have depression and anxiety, you just don't have the power to will yourself up to get dressed and to get your stuff and to go play tennis. Because if we go back to what I said about depression being a self-feeding monster, you it will take your energy away. It will take your interest away in doing the things you love. So now you don't really have the interest in playing tennis. It doesn't seem to you like it's going to help you. Um, and then you'll sit there and you'll feel guilty for not playing tennis. And that will feed the depression more because you're feeling guilty and ashamed because you didn't go out and do something that you love to do that may have made you feel better. It's hard to understand, I know, but you sit there and you think, okay, I need to do this, I should do this, but you don't have the motivation or interest to really want to do it. And you just, it takes that motivation and that interest and that energy to be able to push yourself up to get ready to go do it. And then when you don't do it, you beat yourself up because you should have done it. And you go through this cycle all the time. Um, doesn't have to be like exercising or anything. It could be something as simple as washing the dishes. The dishes are starting to pile up, and you know they need to be washed, and you feel like that's something that I can accomplish today that will at least give me something to be proud of that I did. And you think about washing the dishes, and you build yourself up to, okay, I'm going to wash the dishes after I watch this show, or I'm going to wash the dishes after I read this chapter, or oh, I'll do it in 15 minutes. And you try to work yourself up towards it. You try to build the energy up to get up and go do it. And it's just not there. It's just like trying to start a car that has a bad battery. There's just nothing there. You're turning the key, but nothing is happening. And it's frustrating for people that love you, and it's frustrating for us um, because we know what's going on, and we're trying to do better. Now take that and think about things like going to work, or looking for a job or something like that, and the task seems overwhelming. And when you have anxiety, if a task seems overwhelming, that's going to trigger a lot of physical symptoms. It's going to make you um, shake. It's going to make your brain go 1,000 miles an hour. It's going to make you um, it's going to make it hard to breathe. You can go into full-fledged anxiety attack, or you can just sit there and go, "Oh my God, why? Why is it this hard?" Um, and then that feeds the depression because everything is hard. Why am I so worthless? Why is everything so hard for me? Why can't I just do this? Um, it's not an easy process here. And that kind of gets into how we feel about ourselves. Um, we, a lot of times, feel like we're burdens. We feel like that we're not contributing our weight. And believe me, if you've ever said to somebody like me or somebody that has depression and doesn't have the energy to do certain things, if you've ever said, "Well, why are you so lazy?" or thought or said about somebody, why is Danny so lazy? Why doesn't he get up off his ass and do something? Believe me, I've already heard you say that in my head. I know what you're thinking about me, um, because we tend to assume people think the worst of us. Um, and that's not just me, that's all of us. We have this image of ourselves in our head, and we have that image projected onto what you think about us. And anytime we disappoint or fail to do something or don't measure up to the expectations, then we feel like we have failed, and that just reinforces our negative image of ourselves. And, it's hard to break out of that cycle. I don't do well with compliments. I tend to not believe anything good anybody says about me. I think a lot of times when somebody says something good about me, they have ulterior motives. They want something, that kind of thing. Because my head can't make it uh, possible for what they say to be true. Now, if they say something bad about me, I'm just like, well, yeah, I already knew that. Um, so, don't be offended if somebody with anxiety or depression doesn't take a compliment well, because in our heads, a lot of times we blow those off because we don't think that they're real. Um, it's hard for us to see that image of ourselves because of what we've built up in our head that we are. Um, it's tough for us to get things done. The washing dishes example is, a lot of people are like, well, what's the big deal? It's just a few dishes. Go, get up, go wash them. Just push yourself up and do it. Yeah, for a lot of people, it is a simple chore. But for us, it is, you know, having to find somewhere the energy to start our engines, to push ourselves up, to get it done. And we've got our brain telling us, you can't do that. Um, you don't have the energy for that. Somebody else will do that. Why should you have to do that? Um, and so it's really difficult sometimes for even the simplest things. And again, when you're with somebody, if you have a loved one that has anxiety or depression, these are things you need to know. They're not just sitting there waiting for you to do it yourself. They are actually trying to start that engine, and it's not always easy. So let's say I call out of work, and the next day I go in, I've already got in my head everything people have said about me the day I called out, and all the thoughts going through people's heads at work, as to what a burden I am, and why can't he show up to work? We all have to do this, and we all have to be here, and that kind of thing. And my job was harder yesterday because he wasn't here, and I get all that, but what happens is I'll beat myself over the head with all that. I won't just think it one time and let it go. I'll keep that in my head all day long. And so that way, if somebody does walk up and say, hey, you're awesome, I'm thinking, you don't think I'm awesome. You know, that's just the way things are in our heads. I hope that gives you a little more understanding of kind of what we're dealing with. Um, and I'll go further into things like this as the videos go on. I'll kind of give you my experiences and kind of go, how I think and how maybe you think too. And if you have any experiences with this, or if you have any comments about this, please leave them down below. I'll read every one of them. And if you have any questions, I will answer it. So just ask me down below. Meanwhile, if you haven't already, subscribe. Hit the little subscribe button down there. That way, you'll know when I put out more videos. There's a bell down there somewhere. If you find it, hit it, as my friend Stan says. Um, that way you'll get notifications when new videos come up. And remember, the main goal here is understanding, knowledge, and just to let you know that you matter. You're not alone. And, we'll get through this. We're fighters. See you next time.